Welcome to the Golf Fitness Bomb Squad. I'm your host, Chris Finn, and today is the 100th episode of the podcast. We have made it this far, and I want to start by thanking everyone for taking this journey with us. It's always a grind when you start something new, and to get to 100 is kind of a fun milestone for us. And what I wanted to do for the 100th episode was kind of reflect a little bit on where what we've kind of gone through. We've had tons of guests on, tons of top instructors, top players, top people in the media. It's been really, honestly, an honor for all those people to even say yes to come onto the podcast. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed those episodes. What I wanted to do is kind of recap a little bit about some of the people that we've had on. And give you guys references of the pod episodes in case you didn't get a chance to hear their stories in depth. But there's kind of I wrote this all down. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there's kind of 5 key stories that I wanted to share with you. And actually, none of them are the instructors. They're actually all actual golfers or people that we've been able to help, and I wanted to highlight them because I feel like in the media space, kind of our job, in my job here is storytelling a little bit and helping you to realize that there's people like you out there. So whether we'll talk about, Bob, who's in his 80s, and talking about some of the issues he was having and kind of what he was able to overcome, to Dennis, who was, in his 50s, back issues, Hector, who was doing a ton of working out but didn't know how to use the ground correctly. So we talked about ground reaction forces. We had Gary, who's a cancer survivor, and it's the issues, if you're coming back from cancer, how to kind of get back into the game. So I want to talk a little bit, and then we'll talk about the fun one is Kyle, Berkshire. If anyone wants to swing 165 miles an hour faster, but he came back from an injury too, and so I want to share the stories with these kind of 5 individuals to hopefully connect with you and maybe hopefully it resonates with you and something that you're challenged with. Then we'll dive into the episode too, so you can go listen to that actual episode and hopefully get some help, get some nuggets of what you can do to help yourself. So let's start with Bob. He's one of our PTs. He was a 82-year-old golfer. Literally could not play 18 holes without being in pain. And when we looked at him, so the first thing that we always do, if you guys have listened to any other episodes, we always talk about, first thing we did, we looked at rotary centers, particularly when you have pain, wherever it is, even, elbow, wrist, back, hip, knee, whatever it is. The first thing as a golfer, if you're having pain that gets worse when you play, you need to look at your rotary centers and see if there's limitations there. Because if you have limitations in any of the 4 rotary centers, we're going to see more stress on the other joints. So he took the assessment and he literally failed, I believe, every single test. But by addressing the mobility with and basically looking at his hips and his shoulders, tissue work, and then actually getting him, working out and doing some of the right things for him. We didn't even get into ground forces or any of that kind of, sexy stuff that a lot of people like to hear about and learn about. And we'll talk about the transfer training and that. And when we talked to Hector, and we actually did 4 different episodes on that. But the key thing with Bob was really at 82, all we had to do was improve his rotary centers, get him a little bit just generally stronger. And then, basically he added 20 yards, immediately. I think just by doing some hip and shoulder work, literally put on 20 yards. And he's actually still working with us and still feeling better and better every day. So even in your 80s, you can literally gain tons of yards, particularly if you fail the test. I always joke with people, you actually want to fail the test, because if you fail the test, that means it's a very easy path to improvement for you. Let's talk about Hector. I've mentioned him a couple of times already. So Hector's, over 60. He's been working out with us at P4S for years, since we were even at our old building. But we talked about him in episode 66, but in particular, the big thing for Hector was ground reaction forces and learning how to use the ground. So definitely check out episodes 86, 88, 90, and 92. So it's kind of 4 of my individual episodes in a row. I went in depth into each of the different ground reaction forces, how to train them, how to understand, what transfer training is, how to know potentially what you need to do for them. But he literally put on, I think it was 7 miles an hour, which is 20, it's 20 yards in one session. So literally less than an hour. He was strong enough. He had good mobility. So we were able to do some transfer training. Once we identified what he wasn't doing, we gave him a drill to do it. He was able to do it and then immediately picked up 20 yards right then and there. So that was a really cool, I guess, demonstration of what is possible if you've done the work of, maybe you're working out and your mobility is good, you've gotten stronger, all your physical metrics say, hey, you should be swinging faster and your safe swing speed's higher than what it actually is right now. Then we look at, okay, what are you not doing in your golf swing to transfer that speed and power out of, from the body to the golf club? So definitely check that out. Again, he's we talk about Hector in 66, but 86, 88, 90, and 92. Those are 4 episodes in a row. It's a 4-episode series going into ground reaction forces. One of my favorite ones that we've done, one of the more popular ones that we've done. So definitely check that out if you think that may be, I guess, relevant to you. So the next two are I want to put them together. They're definitely, I'm gonna say my favorite for last. That's Gary, but I want to talk about Kyle Berkshire and Dennis Paulson. Both came to us injured. Kyle, obviously, if you don't know Kyle Berkshire, he's a 3-time world long drive champion. When we met him, he was only a 2-time world long drive champion. And prior to Kyle, every champion that ever gotten hurt has never won another world championship again. So we have him in episodes 20, talk about Kyle in episodes 22 and 25. And in 25, we have Kyle on the show. That is a great episode. Go check that out. We go all in depth about his injury, about his return to playing, about winning the world championship. Really, really cool stuff in that episode. But again, we start with just as we did with Bob at 82 and Hector in the 60s. We look at the rotary centers. They weren't good for Kyle. And really it was a lot of little things for Kyle to help him recover from that oblique injury. That was the symptom. The problem was a lot of shoulder issues in terms of not having the mobility there, or the kind of small strength. And in doing that, literally, dude picked up like 6 miles an hour, which when you're already the fastest guy in the world is pretty wild. The other one is Dennis Paulson. He's the host of Inside the Ropes on Sirius XM PJ Tour Radio. We talk about lots of different back pain areas. And Dennis is probably one of my favorite success stories. He's came to us. Obviously, I knew him through going on the radio a bunch. Was having tons of back pain. Literally was not even interested in the game of golf. Just said, hey, look, I just want to feel better. And so we looked at addressing his back pain. He was like bend over without being scared his back was going to go. And literally now he goes and can play multiple days in a row. He can do his yard work. He plays on the ground with his grandkids. Like, the life that he has gotten back is so cool. So if you struggled from back then, I want to share with you guys episodes 52, 54, and 68. We actually talk about the specifics of if you have back pain on one side, that's episode 52. If you've got just general lower back across kind of the whole low back, that's episode 54. Or if you've had back spasms that have kind of gone out on you, that's episode 68. So if you're like Dennis, you're kind of struggling with back pain, it's affecting not only golf, but also your life. Definitely check 52, 54, and episode 68 out. And this is all going to be in the show notes, guys. But those are great episodes, kind of giving you guys some tactical things that you can do to address those areas. The last one I want to dive into is Gary. So Gary's probably my favorite success story that we've had, probably my entire career. He's a cancer survivor from the chemo. He'd lost total ability to walk in his legs. And the determination that this man has, given the circumstances and overcoming the odds, the doctor told me never walk again. And I'll never forget the look on Gary's face when the first time I told him we were going to take 3 steps. We literally started, we just had to try to stand. And it was like a workout for me. I did more work helping him stand in the beginning. But fast forward to actually yesterday, he was walking out of the facility. He can swing a golf club. The determination that if anytime I hear somebody that says, I don't know if I have the time, or I don't, like, it's like, dude, if Gary can do this, do what he's done, anybody can do it if you really want it. I think that's kind of the takeaway. We talk about this episode 78. Um, Literally from stuck in a wheelchair to now walking and you can swinging golf clubs. If you want it, it can be done. And I think that's the big thing that I want people to truly get out of the first 100 episodes. Hopefully, if you've listened to all 100, you're starting to understand that because of data and science, we can assess. We don't have to guess, and we can put a specific plan together. You can have, and it's not even with us necessarily P4S. You can do it with anybody if they're assessing, if you're kind of putting a plan together. And you can really achieve some pretty wonderful things. And it's brings me nothing but pride and joy, for my entire team and our entire thing that we've built, with this pod is just another way, hopefully trying to get information out. Our mission is to help every golfer play this game as long as possible. And so this podcast is another way for us to try to help more of you guys listening. So if you haven't listened to Bob episode 2, Kyle Berkshire, he's in episode 25. If you got back pain like Dennis Paulson, check out episode 52, 54, and 68. If you feel like you're in good shape, you got good mobility, you're working out, but you're just not seeing it transfer to your golf swing, like Hector, check out the transfer training episodes, 86, 88, 90, and 92. Those are great episodes. All of these are tactical stuff, guys, telling you what you can do to get better. And if you're kind of like, maybe kind of not sure you want to put in the work, or maybe you've hit a plateau, or you're kind of like stuck, go listen to episode 78 about Gary and just determination. Because, I mean, man, it's pretty cool. So, hey, I want to thank you all for hanging out with us for the first 100 episodes. Thanks for listening to this 100th one. We're going to keep going. We're keeping it going. Still, we're not even like making a dent into the amount of information that we have to share with you. So thanks as always for hanging out with us here on the Golf and Spam Squad, and thank you for celebrating the 100th episode with me. It means more to me than you'll ever know. So thanks again, and we'll catch you on the next episode.